Right, hello again, and here we are this time in Jeff's workshop with Drew's rolling chassis. Here's the frame, here's the swing arm he's bought for the bike. This is from a ZRX1200, and there's a rather chunky pair of aluminium billet yokes here that Jeff's now fitted. And yeah, it's all going okay. Now so far, in fact, Jeff's just in there busily painting a Miller, so he'll come back in a minute. So what's happened so far with this frame is it's been checked over, it's been put on the jig, and it is straight, and that's great. It's also had a few tabs removed here and there, and you can see here where the rear pillion ears that used to hold the pillion pegs have gone, and in fact now you can see a bit of rust there, but it's not too bad, and I'm sure it will soon be sorted out. So I think the plan for this frame is it will be braced at some point, but also it's going to have its own special one-off set of rear sets. So it's going to have a tab welded here with some threaded holes and so on, onto which an aluminium plate will be bolted, which will in turn hold the rear sets, which Jeff is going to make. So the wheels for this bike are going to be from a Kawasaki ZRX1200. In fact, one of them is down here. This is the rear wheel, as you can see, 3-spoker, and the front forks are also from the same bike, a 750. So the reason for that, of course, it makes life a lot simpler. Everything fits together as it should, blah blah blah. You don't have to worry about disc spacing and caliper mounts, all that sort of thing. Although I'm not sure if these billet yokes are the same dimensions as a standard Kawasaki Z750.
I think they are, yes.
Said
210 centres.
Okay, 210 cents I'm being told by the man with the paintbrush. So yeah, so hopefully those forks are actually here and they'll go straight on, wheels go in, brakes in, front mudguard will mount, blah blah blah. So yeah, it's getting there slowly. So I'm not sure what Jeff's got to do next. I think, oh he has. No. He's been making some top hat spacers so that the standard spindle, swing arm spindle, will work with the much wider bearings in this ZRX1200 swing arm. I know about that because I've done it myself. So I think he's now just got to make some. No, actually, I think he's done it now. Yes, it's all done. It's all done. So I know this bike originally was going to have the shocks, the rear shocks from a Kawasaki ZRX1200, because I sold them to Drew, but it turns out they are far too long for a 650. And the reason why I didn't want them was because they were on my green 650, my green Z650, and they were far too long. Standard for a 650 is about 330 millimeters in length, whereas the 1200 shocks are 365 in length. So that doesn't sound like much, but it is. I mean, I was on tiptoes when I was sitting on the bike with those longer shocks fitted, and with the standard side stand, the bike was leaning over dangerously over. It would fall over any minute, so that's why I couldn't keep them on my standardish 650. So now it turns out Drew can't fit them on here either, so he's got to go and source himself some suitable cool rear shocks. Not sure what he's going to do, whether they be standard shocks or remote reservoir shocks or whatever.
I think you're going to have a modified pair.
Yeah, or maybe a one-off pair from the likes of Hagon, Maxton, if you can afford it, because they're very expensive, as I know to my cost, but they are nice, you know, sort of up there with Ohlins. So yeah. Also, you can see here the corrosion that's got underneath the plastic coating that this frame had from many years ago. Plastic coating was a bit of a bad idea for old motorbike frames, but it was trendy for a few years, but it's not a good finish, because once the water gets behind it, which it will eventually, it just flakes off, and you see here the rust has come through. So I think this frame needs to be given a good blasting before it's powder coated, which it will be. I'm sure Triple S will do a great job, as they always do. So yeah, this is Drew's work in progress. Well, not rolling chassis yet, but it soon will be. So when Jeff's finished doing his painting on his Miller in there, and we've had a cup of tea, I'll get him over and he can tell me what else he's been doing with this particular frame. Right, so I've dragged Jeff away from his painting, and we've had a cup of tea, So now we can just finish off and you can go through stuff that I've not mentioned yet. So I've already mentioned the fact that you've had the frame on your jig, and it's straight, and that's fine. And I think you've removed some lugs, haven't you?
Well, the lock stop's gone now.
Oh,
That's been welded up. But yeah, there's just a tiny little where you can just see the weld sunk in.
Yeah, it used to stick out.
Once that's powder coated,
it's gone now.
You're not going to notice
You've
that.
also cut off the rear. Pillion.
We're lucky we caught them.
Do a bad
in fact, if they were full of rot.
Yes, which they often
But yet on the surface they look great.
Right.
But this
is to see here the corrosion there.
But the tube's still got some pitting in it.
Yeah.
It's
well, once it's smoothed out and powder coated.
Well, I'm going to weld lugs on it.
Right.
2 tabs. You know, like for
with my 1170.
I said let's get some lugs on it.
Right. Weld them 2 lugs either side. Threaded, and then from that you can.
We can make when
the rear sets.
He can then sit on it, put his foot, and then we can make up a couple of thick cardboard things, and then just put a mark where the foot rests.
Yes.
And we can transfer that onto.
Okie doke.
We've removed the original master cylinder, that great big lug that was welded.
Yes. So it's there. So you've got to come up with a way of mounting a.
And obviously I took the centre stand ones off, and then Drew come yesterday and said I wanted the centre stand on it. And then he started, it's a bit only winding you up.
Yeah.
But these are coming off.
The centre stands are amazingly heavy, so it's good to get rid of them. Well, these mounts here, that's for the rear indicators.
That's coming off,
And that would be for the mount for the mudguard.
No, I think it's for the grab rail.
I think it's
Les
both.
was saying,
I think
or is it both?
It's both. But it doesn't matter because it's not going to have.
He's not having a pillion on it, and he's not got the centre stand which you need to do it. So all that can come off.
It's not having a stand.
Because what he wants, he wants it clean.
Yes.
And the bracket that bolts to here for his number plate, he said we can make it so that the indicators just come on a thin stalk, just under the seat unit.
I know, I've been there.
So
because the rear guys in 2 pieces, they've got the front bit here is plastic that it's going to keep, and the rear bit is quite heavy. It's chrome. It comes like this with a big rear lamp. Get rid of all that and just have a stainless steel splash guard, and away you go. So and then you were quite lucky, weren't you? Because you already had these.
Do you know, it's so important. We've had the tank on, I'd have to put the tank on, but do you know, when he come, I said to Les, apart from that little corner there, I'm just going, what it wants is just that little corner just taking off.
Right.
And Les said, do you know what we'll do with it? We'll just bond 2 little rubber pads on there.
Yes.
So it just goes up against the little gusset there.
Yes.
And it's perfect.
And it fits really well.
It fits, absolutely.
Now these are really nice, but what they aren't are dropped top yokes, so that means that the bike will sit a bit lower than it might otherwise do, because with the the ZXR 750 upside down forks aren't as long as the original forks, particularly with a 17-inch front wheel. But that's okay. I mean, the bike's not going to be used in a racing situation. It won't have a centre stand, which tends to hit the ground first. So I think you'll be okay.
He might have to shorten his side stand as well.
Yes.
Because the beauty is with this, it's a turbo.
Yes.
So he doesn't have to worry about the height. Because the turbo's in, it'll just have a small outlet at the front.
Right. So it's not having the exhaust pipe going back.
Well, as far as I know, it's not. So.
We'll see.
But the beauty is as well, we've had the fork legs in and it fit. What we're doing, we're only going to go half in the top yoke and then machine 2 rings the same diameter as the fork, tap them in, and it gives you
a bit more.
It gives you at least another 20 mil in height.
It might not sound very much, but it all helps.
Yeah. Plus, we've sunk the top yoke in.
Oh, I see.
And now I've just set it up with 2 temporary aluminium lugs, on the old bearings.
Right.
And what it is, you'll tighten it up, the top yoke will go on and it'll cover the castle nut.
Right. So
which gives you
another 10
and
mil.
He loves that. I mean, obviously when you want to adjust, how many times are you ever going to have to adjust?
Once it's adjusted, that's...
You've only got to just lift that up and then put it back down. It's...
I think my...
for that clean line, it's
I think you've done that for one of my bikes. My drag bike was the same. My Harley drag bike had that same front set forks.
Plus it pulls that down lower. Plus the clearance there it brings the two yokes closer together so they don't look hideously too far apart, and then they look out of proportion with the rest of the fork.
That's what's happening at the moment. So what else? Yeah. What are you going to do next?
Now, I did mention to him, and I know you said no.
I didn't.
And I said, no, I said what we'll do is we'll clean all these, and these joints for the engine mounts, we'll nickel bronze them and flow them in, so that, you know, I said, don't get me wrong, it doesn't need doing, but it's one of them little, if you're going to details, you know, just put like a bronze in there and just, and then it can be all, you know.
Let me move the camera so we can see what we're talking about, because it's not obvious what we're talking about.
Let
me move the camera and I'll
grab the camera
and we'll show you what we're talking about. Right, okay, so we moved the camera and we're talking about this bit here where the lug is welded to the frame, and you're talking about filling in this gap. This is a standard gap down there. It's a bit of a rust spot, isn't it?
There's probably a lot of what I suggested to him, what we do first is take it somewhere and get him to shot blast
down there
all the joints to
get them look out,
because a shot blasted surface, it'll nickel bronze it as long as it's clean,
and then you're going to fill all that with
just run a little bead of bronze. I mean, don't get me wrong, it'll just flow onto that, it'll just seal the gap, and most people just probably put filler in it, but
no. And also you got one here at the back as well.
We've got two there,
one at the back,
one,
there's a few.
There's six altogether.
To do, okay. Right, so I'll move the camera again, and now we can look at the yokes, these chunky old yokes here, which have been machined out beneath, and you're talking about how you've recessed this lower one and the upper one to cover.
Well, actually, these yokes haven't been touched. I made them for something else. And they got shelved, and they were milled. You can see it out now. They've been on the rotary table. We put a pin in, and we took it out more or less the depth of where the bearing where the bearing sits. And Drew saw it, and he just said that.
Love that,
lovely.
So what you're going to do is to put glue some sort of padding here.
Just
where my finger is.
There's a sharp corner there.
You can round that off a bit.
That can just be probably just dremelled and smooth. But a little, say, a thin 1/8 of an inch little rubber
neoprene
on there,
so that when it hits that at full lock,
fingers out of the way,
it's okay.
It's just got that
and at that point, it's not hitting the tank.
You can just get your finger between the foreleg and the tank.
Whereas here at the top, the same thing again. The adjuster nuts are now inside the yoke.
There's not at the minute, but when the stand goes on, the yoke it'll sit on the adjuster nut,
which is bringing it down, so you get a bit more ground clearance.
And it all them little things help to. Well, in my opinion, help to make the front end.
Is he having it fully polished or anodised?
He wants me to polish it.
Oh joy! Rather you than me. I polish enough bloody aluminium billet.
Suitability test.
No. Right, so we've moved the camera again, and we're saying that Drew, the owner of this thing, wants to have standard classic Z650 clocks. Don't blame him because they look fantastic, just like the original Z1 clocks. But the issue is that
something similar that looks very much like that sits at the angle.
Well, if you're lucky and the ZXR front end is cable driven, you might get away with it because obviously the Speedo is cable driven. That said, the ratio could be out because who's to say the ratios are the same?
That's the wheel. Oh, it has.
It has. But you might find you fit it and it ends up overreading or underreading by 10 or 15 miles an hour. The alternative is you can maybe use the standard clocks and then remove the mechanical Speedo and tacho and fit modern stuff. But that is not easy to get right. I know because I've tried it and it ain't easy. Which is why on my bikes I tend to fit modern electronic stuff. But anyway, the good news is the good news is he has got that mechanical drive on the front end. So he wants to make it look a bit like a standard bike, which is great. But Jeff was just telling me
the classic Z650.
Don't blame him. But he will move away from that look because he wants to fit the sort of classic 80s, 90s Street Fighter look with twin headlamps.
That's not what I would do.
That's not what you would do.
No.
It's not what I would do, but it's what the owner wants to do, and that's fine. It probably look fantastic, and that's great. So, and I don't know why, because that was the classic sort of your Street Fighter magazine back in the 80s and 90s, because I used to buy all them. In fact, I've given them all to Les, I think. He's got all my old... He's got like 300 bloody magazines I gave him. Yeah, during one of my occasional clear outs when I get rid of all my old crap. Yeah, so that's great. As I say, you were saying
don't
that
have another clear out. I can't move in here with the stuff that
I'm sure I can find you something to get rid of. Yeah, so
what Rich is just
no. Yeah, there's a shovel head engine just in there.
No, he's took the engine.
Oh well, he's got the frame up
anyway.
So you were saying you had the forks fitted just before I came, and you removed them.
Out, yeah.
And they're, well, where are they?
I've put them up out there.
Or doing the loft where nothing ever gets found ever again.
No, it's I didn't.
The loft of doom where things go.
To move everything.
I know.
To get the pallet.
The loft of doom where.
They're just lying on.
All right, I'll believe you. I'll believe you.
You can see the tank there.
The amount of stuff up there is unbelievable.
It's
right.
There's more. Do you know? I'd hate it if anyone, if someone.
Yeah, don't die soon because I'm never going to go there again.
If someone had to come in here and sort this lot out, there isn't enough time.
Yeah. By the way, Jeff's been busy recently.
Young.
He's been busy recently having a reorganisation of his workshop, which always takes forever because it's so full of stuff. And he's now got.
You end up moving a load of stuff just to move one thing.
I know, but there was a big lathe here. That's now not here anymore. Yeah. It's now in there.
Well, I've now inherited another press.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, another press. It's got so much stuff you wouldn't believe. So it's now got 1, 2, 3 lathes. He's got 1, 2, 3. Well, I'll call it 2.5 millers because he's painting one.
Hopefully that's up for sale.
That's up for sale. So when that's finished, it'll be for sale. And yeah, not a lot of room in there. He's having a big, one of his occasional big reorganisations of the workshop.
You know.
So once that's done and you've done your brazing on these engine mounts, is it going to go back to your Les? Is it done then?
Well, he can get it powder coated.
Yes.
This is where. Let's be sure. I mean, we were going on about putting a tube across here.
Yeah, a brace.
But we can't go lower because his turbo's
in the way. So are you going to put a brace here?
He said we'll put a tube just above here.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. My 6 foot is like that. Yeah. So.
I mean, even with the engine going in here, bolting. I mean, even with them bronzed up there, it'll give it a touch more rigidity on the.
Right. A couple more things I should mention, and that is that Drew's going to have stainless steel engine bolts, which I made for my bikes. All my bikes have them, and I think he saw them. I thought, oh yes, I'll have them as well. It's also, I think, going to have billet 10mm engine brackets, which are much stronger than.
We only need one, don't we? Well, obviously we can't use. This is a fixed one, so that will be painted.
No, so one there.
So it'll just be one.
No, one there.
Oh, hang on, the back one.
And the back ones, I think it's about 3.
I'm forgetting the other. This is the back ones, yeah.
Yeah, it's 3, so they're about 10mm. And that means you got to remember to make the new engine bolts 10mm longer than they are standard.
Well,
because if you don't, they don't work properly.
Possibly a bit longer.
Yeah, a bit longer because you want to put spaces on it and whatever. So yeah. Hopefully this thing's.
If we use 10mm plate.
It's about 8mm longer than standard, isn't it? Something like that.
The standard ones are only about 3 or 4mm steel.
Not even that. Probably
not even that.
2 or 3.
3mm.
Yeah. So anyway, an extra 10mm would be more than adequate. Right, so that's that, and hopefully the next time we see this bike, it will be.
We'll set them up and then clean.
Yeah. No, I think I'll probably see this bike again when it's at Les's, when it's been to Triple S, it's been fully powder coated, it's been braced, it's ready to go, and then the final kind of build can begin. Yeah. And that would look quite cool. Yeah.
The main thing is to get all the work done on the frame so that can go off.
Yeah.
Whilst.
Yeah.
All the other.
Yeah, you can do a lot. Get the frame powder coated, get the engine in, get those billet brackets made. But even then, you might think, oh, they're now going to go off to be hard anodised. Mine are all hard anodised black.
He might polish them.
Well, good luck with that. To be honest, it's a lot of work.
To be honest, it's all right with the yokes. I think I'd just keep the yokes, but these little brackets here probably be better getting them clear out.
Yeah, well.
Or unless he wants to get them black.
Well, you get them hard anodised because it lasts a lot longer.
Hard anodised.
That's what you want. And also, of course, the stainless steel bolts as well, blah blah blah. Right, so that's it. I
said I'll have to see Lee, because he bought the die for doing those, and I said,
oh yeah, well, it's here, isn't it? Yeah. Because you made that
one of the tool things.
Yeah, because you made that little sort of
but I said
feeder where the oil goes on.
I know. So we might want some commission.
No. Just be aware, they don't last forever because you're cutting stainless steel and it will.
Well, I said you bought one and we tried it. And
didn't last long.
I think we got about 3 or 4 threads done with it, and it just took. It just.
So then I bought another one. The first one I bought was like £5 from China, and the second one I bought was £25. It's like lasted a lot longer.
Yeah. Oh,
but hopefully it'll last last long enough to make these and everybody else's. Right, so that's it. So that's the progress so far with Drew's bike. We'll call this part 2, and then in part 3, when we see it in the next few months,
well,
hopefully the whole frame's now sorted out,
next week,
powder coated, back ends on, blah blah blah. Maybe we'll get the engine in, because the engine looks really nice. I've only seen it wrapped up, but it looks really cool. So yeah, we'll probably see it again at Les's workshop in the next month or 2. I know he wants it finishing over winter, so we're now in September, so there's plenty of time to get it all ready for the spring. Because no one wants to be riding around on nice expensive motorbikes in December when there's salt and rain and grit on the roads. Right, so that's it. So we'll continue this series of videos in a month or 2 when we'll see this bike coming together. So that's it for now. So thanks for watching, and cheers.
Thank you.
It's now time for more tea for the first time.